Joining me on the line now from London, he's actually walking around the streets of London, is 2007 IRB Player of the Year. He's a World Cup winner with the Springboks in 2007. It's my great pleasure to welcome onto the show this afternoon, Brian Habana. Brian Habana, you're most welcome to Talk Radio Europe.
No, thank you very much for having me. Good to get out there, good to be in London in a great performance week. So, yeah, all good.
And of course, Brian, the reason why you're in London, big weekend for you. You're in the UK getting ready for tomorrow's big match against the Wallabies, the Tri-Nations champions. You're not wearing the green and gold jersey this time round. You're wearing the jersey of the Barbarians, and I think it's for the second time as well, isn't it?
Yeah, it's actually for the third time. I was lucky enough to represent them in 2008, 2009 when got a hat-trick and we beat the All Blacks at Twickenham. And third time around, hopefully it can be another great game against a Wallaby team that's pretty decent at the moment.
And Brian, of course, I mean, there's over 1,000 caps, I think, in the 22 that were selected for tomorrow's game. World Cup winners like yourself, a host of New Zealand World Cup winners as well. It must be quite interesting for you to actually get to play with these guys as opposed to against them, what you would have done at the international level and Super 15 level.
Yeah, I think the great thing about the tradition of the Barbarians is that I think the real tradition of what rugby is about, the camaraderie, the learning of different cultures, is really expressed in full in this week. And you get the opportunity to play with, some top-class players. You World Cup winners, someone like Victor Matfield, who I've been fortunate enough to play with over the last 8 years. Someone like him that's had 110 caps for the country. It's really great. World Cup winning coach and Graham Henry that's got the team together this weekend. It's great to learn from guys from around the world. And like you correctly said, you might go to battle quite a bit in a year against these guys, and to have the opportunity to play with some of these unbelievably skilled footballers from all around the globe is a fantastic opportunity and a huge honour and privilege to be invited to play.
And Brian, one of those names that you mentioned, of course, Victor Matfield, your teammate at the Bulls for many seasons. You mentioned 110 caps for the Boks as well. It's his swan song tomorrow. A wonderful international career this guy's had. Just how good was Victor Matfield? He's going to be your captain tomorrow as well, isn't he?
Yeah, Victor's been named captain for this week. But it's what an absolute legend of the game. I think he'll definitely go down in the annals of the game as one of the best games ever produced. One of the main stalwarts in the Springbok victories in 2007, in the 2004 Tri-Nations, as well as 2009 Lions series. And, gone on to become one of the most successful captains at the Bulls as well, being a part of three Super Rugby victories over there, which is, just a sort of couple of highlights that characterizes his career. And, he's been a great contributor in all areas of the game, not just the successes, but in the development of a lot of youngsters coming through in South Africa as well. So a huge respect for a great legend of the game.
Brian, I just must ask you a little bit about the Rugby World Cup, of course. I mean, you guys were looking extremely good coming into the quarterfinals against Australia. I don't expect you to criticise him too much, but I've certainly got my opinions about the way the game was refereed. It must have been very disappointing in the change rooms. I mean, a real golden generation of Springbok players that were there as well. Most of them were World Cup winners like yourself in 07. In the changing room afterwards, it must have been really tough to take.
Yeah, I think, I've been asked that question a couple of times in the last couple of weeks, and I don't think one ever gets over the disappointment. I think, as every day passes, it probably becomes a bit less, and I don't think it ever goes away. And to end on the way we did with, like you said, a couple of stalwarts that, have given the game in South Africa so much was pretty disappointing, and there might have been a couple of contributing factors to how we actually ended our tournament. But I still believe, we had enough opportunities in that game to, bar whatever the factors of the uncontrollables were, to actually go out and win. 76% possession in a game. You sort of needed to capitalize on those few opportunities which we did receive. So disappointing to end that way. Disappointing for this era to end without another trophy. But on the other hand, I think New Zealand were worthy winners. 24 years on, they've been going into every World Cup as the number one team in the world, and this year they went on to actually get it eventually. So you got to take your hat off to guys like Graham Henry and Richie that have given the All Blacks and New Zealand so much. And disappointing for us, but on the other hand, as a country, New Zealand probably deserved it.
And for you personally, the leading try scorer now in Springbok history, overtaking US Van der Westhuizen, and you must be delighted with that, Brian.
Yeah, it's pretty awesome to get the number of tries that I've got. I think more so than the tries is the amount of bonds I've been able to form in the last 9 years of my international career. The success stories I've been a part of, and the actual contributing factors that actually become sort of part of a rugby player's life. Being able to be a part of the game is fantastic. I think it's actually off the field where a lot of your memories are made, and I've been really fortunate to have had some amazing success stories in my career so far. Have played against and with some unbelievable rugby players. And without the teammates around me, those trials wouldn't have meant anything, because without them, it wouldn't have been possible. So, first of all, credit to my coaching staff that I've been involved with over the last 8 years, my teammates that have surrounded me and given me the opportunity to express myself out on the field, and then, my family and friends that have continually supported me through everything. So, yeah, pretty special.
Hopefully they're not coming after you, Brian.
No. Oxford Street is pretty busy at the moment, so definitely not after me. Well, it all depends. If I maybe score a couple of tries tomorrow, it might be the Aussies after me.
Brian, your own personal future, you put speculation at rest, of course. Much speculation about your future following the World Cup. You re-signed for the Stormers, which is great news for South African rugby fans and Stormers fans. I mean, you turned your back on some very lucrative offers overseas. What were your reasons for sticking with the Stormers?
Yeah, I think first of all, I can think of worse places in the world to live than Cape Town. And I think the Stormers are a team at the moment that have got some good players around. In the last 2 years, they've shown their worth. And, I sort of like to be a part of a process where we try to win some sort of silverware down there. There's a couple of great youngsters coming through, so being able to lend your expertise and share your knowledge with those guys and, help build up something which I believe can become really special was quite a big contributing factor. And, yeah, there were some or a couple of lucrative offers from overseas, but yeah, I think I've been very fortunate enough to be a part of a new South Africa where you can give back hope to a lot of people, and by me being abroad, I probably wouldn't be able to do that. So, looking forward to the opportunity of being South African first of all, and hopefully giving the game in South Africa back as much as possible.
Brian, just one last question before we let you go. Of course, a couple of high-profile coaching positions going as well. In the UK, of course, at the England head coaching job, and the Springboks as well. We've just recently seen Mickey Arthur getting appointed as the national cricket coach from Australia, a foreign coach there. Do you think South African rugby would consider that as an option?
Yeah, I think first of all, one's got to sort of see who puts their name in the hat to actually take up that job. Because I think being a coach in South Africa is not the easiest job, but being the Springbok coach is even more difficult. So, as players, we can only go on the decision that's made by the administration of SA Rugby. And like I said, I think the best person that applies will hopefully get the job, and whether that be South African or an international, we'll leave that up to the powers that be.
Brian, one last question I must ask you. Your Springbok aspirations, of course, your career is far from over. One more World Cup left in you, do you think?
Yeah, well, at the moment I'm 28 years old, so going to be taking every year, 1 year at a time. I'd love to sort of give back to Western Province and the Stormers rugby as much as possible, and if my performances for them, prove me to be viable of a Springbok position, I'm definitely going to see for how long I can get that green and gold jump over my head, and hopefully I can contribute even more than I have in the last 8 years.
Well, listen, Brian, best of luck for tomorrow. I'm looking forward to the game as well. It's always a festival of rugby. And thank you very much indeed for coming on Talk Radio Europe Sports this afternoon. It's been an absolute pleasure to watch your career unfold as well. I'm a huge fan of yours. Best of luck for tomorrow, Brian. And look forward to seeing you in the Springbok jersey in the future as well.
Thank you very much for your support. And to all our fans over in Europe and the UK, looking forward to a great game tomorrow.
Cheers, Brian.
Cheers, Dom. Go well. Bye-bye.